Hey, welcome to Live from Dennis's house. Today we got a very, very special show. It's a personal show today. It's for me and our friends and everybody. We're doing a special memorial to our great friend who passed away, Al the Mazza. And we have special guests in the audience here today with us. We have James McNally and Jimmy Mcnally. Say hello.
Hey!
So, you guys seen little Jimmy back there before. He's done a lot of guitar work. He's been on the show before. And you've heard a lot of talk about James McNally here. But here he is, live in person.
The legend.
The infamous.
Yes, infamous. Some say psychopathic, James McNally. And now, today's show, it's going to be a celebration of Al's life. We're going to sit here and cry. We're going to talk about what a great guy he was and how much fun we had with him. And the album that I chose for today that makes me think of Al the most, of course, is Jimi Hendrix. And the album is called Soundtrack Recordings from the Film Jimi Hendrix. And, you know, I have all these albums to choose from, and they all remind me of Al in some way or other. We have Jimi Hendrix Crash Landing.
The best.
Tell the story about this one that just happened.
Just absolutely awesome with Crash Landings. It's just, and when I first heard this album, my impression of Hendrix, he was just the bomb.
You do impressions?
No, he was. Needless to say.
Now, what about that? You were telling Jimmy this album existed all his life, and he questioned you, right?
Yes, I was telling my son that
Probably 8 years old.
And-
he was playing Hendrix to me. He used to tell me that this album existed, but he could never find it. And neither could I. And I spent countless hours on the internet trying to look for this, but more of like a CD tape, and I cannot find this album
Yeah.
anywhere.
So I wonder if it's actually on CD. We'll have to look
I
that
don't
up.
think it
No,
is. And
this-
then I get to Dennis's, house here,
And there it is.
the sister
So
will
he
not
tells me-
promote this album. You can't even get it on Beats Music, or what's that other iPhone
Yeah,
tune
it's.
that,
I think Bill Cosby owns it, and he said he doesn't like it.
Yeah,
so that and the Little Rascals
and
is not on anybody's show.
That's right. He doesn't
Yeah.
want his.
So, and this is a good point, because as everyone knows now, I am the foremost authority on pretty much everything. So if you have a question or if you need something resolved, you come see me, because I resolved the sauce versus gravy controversy a while back. So now I resolved this issue. So I'm like, who's that judge? Solomon. I'm like the great Solomon. So,
wrote the laws.
yes. So, all right. So put that down now.
there it
Give me
is.
that back. This album, the reason why I picked this one, because do you know why? Do you remember the story of this one? That the great thing about Al was one of my best friends, greatest friend, one of the greatest friends I ever had, will ever have. And, we communicated and, we melted on every level that, we love the same music, the same TV shows, The Honeymoon is the Odd Couple, The Yankees, everything. Known him all my life, known you all my life too.
Mm-hmm.
And we grew up in Rosedale together. And Al, the great thing about Al was his sense of humor. And if you ever effed up in front of Al, he would never let it go. He would remind you of it forever. And I don't know if you remember this, but your cousin, Kenny McNally,
Yes.
he one time, we're all hanging out, and he's all effed up. Here, you hold that, Jim.
Yeah, no problem.
And he was all effed up, and he was saying, oh yeah, the Jimi Hendrix album, the White Album, when he's sitting on the acoustic chair playing the wooden guitar.
Yes, that was hilarious.
And we just thought it was so funny. And just, this happened 35 years ago at least, and Al would constantly talk about it. We'd all laugh. And here we are, 35 years later, talking about some stupid little joke like that.
Yes.
Like, it was,
Yes.
So that's what made me pick this album. And, it's a great, great album, of course. And it actually comes into play because this past week, last week's show actually, I did Monterey Pop because it happened last week. A lot of these performances were recorded at Monterey Pop. Let's talk about your memories of Al now. Al came on my show. I did a lot of talking with him and told all my stories about Al, but we haven't had you on the show. So share some gems that you have for us here about Al. Now remember, the statute of limitations is over, so you don't have to worry about that.
Okay. Well, one of the things with Albert and I, we were very close. He was my brother. We were definitely family, no question. And lived in the house in Rosedale for about 26 years of my life. And then my dad says, hey, we're going to move out. And then we moved to Valley Stream. And Albert was aware of this, but kind of forgot. And his usual routine, just walking through the park, going over the bridge, opening the gate to my yard, and he just walked in like he always did. It didn't mean anything because he was loved, and he was the family.
So let me get this straight. You moved out of the house, and he forgot about it, and he went back to the old house, and he walked in the house.
Just walked right in the house. And there was this, there was a colored lady who was...
A black lady
who was washing dishes, and,
oh my God.
And Albert just walked through the door, and there's Albert looking at the black lady, and the lady's looking at him, and like, oh my God, who are you? And he's like, where's the McNallys? And she's like, they moved, and he was just flabbergasted and left. And it was just another time, my brother comes to me and he says, I got a stolen car. I was about 14 years old. It was our first year of junior high school. And I says, you got a stolen car? He says, yeah, I found it. I says, okay. And he showed me how to start it, and it was this Camaro. And that morning I got up early and cut school, and I took off bat out of hell on Sunrise Highway, and sure enough, I ran into Albert. And I'm beeping like crazy. Albert's looking all over the place, up in the air, and saying, what's going on? And he finally realized it was me driving this Camaro, and I was in the right lane, and two cars in the middle lane behind us was the 105th precinct. It was two cops. And so Albert's like, man, the cops. I said, don't worry about it, just get in the car. And he got in the car, and we sped off. And I'm like, we got very little gas, and like, how much money do you got? And he's like, I got 50 cents. I says, that'll do, because like gas was like 65 cents a gallon back then.
Almost a gallon.
Oh, yeah. So needless to say, that we're driving around with this ignition missing. But I still had the cap for the ignition where it was popped off, and I had some gum, and the only thing, he says, the only key I got is the key to the house. This key, like for a car, he says, I got. So we stuck it in there with some bubble gum, got to the gas station, and and at 14, we're like gods. We're the coolest. They're just the coolest, and I'm like the baddest person in the world, and Albert's just absolutely petrified that he's.
Does he know it's a stolen car at this point?
He knew it was a stolen car. I told him right from the beginning. He got in and says, the car's stolen. I got it from my brother. Wow. And we got to the gas station. He gave us gas, and for the meantime, his house key and the bubble gum were holding pretty good until we got to the gas station, and then the guy says, hey, what do you want? I said, give me 50 cents for, with the gas. He's looking at me like, yeah, all right, kid. You're old enough to drive. And no sooner than I'm giving him the 50 cents, the bubble gum starts to loosen, and the key is dangling. And it's just, and Albert's going, Jim. And
let me clear this up for people who don't know that you have to have a key to get gas. Otherwise, the guy is not supposed to give you gas with a popped out ignition.
Absolutely. And
nowadays, I don't think anybody knows that rule or cares about it, right?
That's a rule.
Yeah, and he gave us gas knowing that the car was stolen with Vermont plates.
Wow.
And we were really lucky.
So how did it end up? Did you get caught? And
No. Chino was very upset that we took the car because he wanted to use it. But me and Albert had a blast that day.
I forgot to tell you, though, that the statute of limitations does not apply to stealing cars.
Okay.
So,
well, I didn't steal the car. The car was already stolen. I just was driving.
Yeah, sure.
Nah, really. I mean, I don't know anything about
I'm
stealing
kidding.
cars.
Statute of limitations is
Oh,
long
okay.
over, so you're safe.
Yeah, good.
Hey, stop shaking the table.
Oh, Jesus.
It's the mic and the camera up there.
Okay.
So, all right. So, we'll keep talking about stories, thinking about good stories. But, I want to talk more about Al. That, we all grew up together. We knew each other since 12, 13. We did everything together. We went on camping trips. With some of our best times.
A lot of them.
And concerts, countless concerts.
Oh, Stevie Ray Vaughan.
Yeah. Go ahead. Name that. I remember going to Al Di Meola with him. I remember going to see Keith Richards one time when we were old enough to drive. We were still living in New York. I didn't know nothing about New Jersey, and I think I won tickets to go see Keith Richards somewhere in New Jersey, the Meadowlands or something, and we had no idea where we were going. We were so completely effed up. We ended up at the Pennsylvania Water Gap, and we're like, I don't think this is right.
Oh, Jesus.
I don't think this is right.
So we eventually made it to the show, and we had a great time. And remember cutting school and going to Central Park, like especially on St. Patrick's Day.
Oh, yeah, it was mandatory. You had to
yeah.
for the few years or few months I seen school.
Yeah.
But yeah, good times with Albert. He's truly going to be missed.
Yeah, we're going to miss him a lot. And the thing that's very special to me, though, is that, as we went through life, we're friends for many years at my wedding and all that stuff. And then I moved to New Jersey. He went to Florida. We kind of lost track.
All of us,
And
yeah.
right, we all lost track for a while. And then, he somehow made his way back to Pennsylvania. And then thanks to Facebook, that's why I will never badmouth Facebook. I say it was thanks to Facebook that we all connected back together. We all got on Facebook around the same time, started messaging each other, and then that's how we reconnected. And then within the last year, I was very fortunate talking to Al, and he came to stay at my house for the weekend, and we went to see the Allman Brothers in New York City, and we had the best time. And then last summer, you guys all came down to my house, surprised me for the Woodstock show.
Yeah,
and that was
Albert
so
that
special. Yes, it was a great time. And then we got to see Al one other time. You guys came back down from Florida, you and Jeff, and you picked up Al, and we spent a weekend over at Jimmy's house, and we had great time. And it's just
like we never lost it.
Right. And it's just so
it.
good that we had that opportunity to spend with him. And it's funny how those things work out. It's just like, how did that happen? Yeah, I don't remember the last time I saw Al before that. It had to have been 10 years. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, this past year, I see him 3 times. Yeah. And just thank God we got to do that.
It was great always watching you guys because I got to see that. I was with you almost every time you guys got together.
You grew up with us. That's very true.
Absolutely. And seeing you guys more recently all together, it was like you picked up. You never missed a beat.
Yeah, it's just
still like kids again.
Still crazy.
Still crazy.
Hysterical times. Yeah.
Don't want to grow up.
Yeah,
and that's okay by me.
So now let's see that plaque that you made for Al. So this show is going to air on Sunday, and there's a special memorial prepared for Al in Long Beach. You're going to put up some sort of plaque somewhere.
Well, this emblem right here, a friend of ours, Jeffrey Campbell, who's another friend of ours, years from our teen.
Growing up in crazy Rosedale.
Yes, troublesome years. And he's in Florida, Tampa, Florida, and he's a graphics designer, and he does all kinds of other things besides making plaques and shirts and cups that he made me, and shirts as well.
Just don't put any liquid in those cups, and you'll be fine.
Needless to say, this plaque will be under Grand Boulevard.
Under Grand Boulevard. How are you going to see it?
It is a booth. The boardwalk is cut off, but the booth hangs over the sand in Long Beach on Grand Boulevard. This plaque will be put under it, and for those who want to go see him, it'll be there. And
when This is a great picture. This is the way I remember Al. And what's that animal there with him? I don't remember this.
This is a chinchilla that he adored. I mean, obviously, by the facial expressions, he just loved his chinchilla.
What was that chinchilla's name? Do you remember?
I have no idea.
Let's go with Hendrix. How about that?
As of June 27th, he'd be 50 years old.
Yeah. So yeah, he got sick and it went very quick, and we had the opportunity to go see him though. So glad that we took that 17-hour trip to Pennsylvania.
Yeah, it was a long day.
It would only be 3 hours, but Jim, the child,
you drive
had to
first,
stop at every Wawa and drink a 20-ounce fluid, and then had to stop at the next Wawa because he had to go to the bathroom.
He put me in some terrible bathroom and took these pictures. I'd never seen anything like it.
Oh, and that's right. You almost crashed and killed me 3 times on the way home, and then we almost ran out of gas.
I was just showing you the dynamics of the car.
Yeah, dynamics into a bank of snow. And then
it was snowing out there. It had a lot of snow.
Right. And then we had to pull off because we were on fumes. Literally, just made it to a gas station.
Yeah, that was I couldn't believe.
God knows where we were or whatever. And I had to go to the bathroom, so I went in there. And it was a crime scene. It was somebody was just murdered in that bathroom. I'm pretty sure of it.
Yeah, I never seen anything like it.
That was terrible.
Yeah, it was. It was something. Yes, it was.
So let's talk a little about this album here now. Al used to love this album. We used to talk about it all the time. This album has a lot of live stuff going on with it, and the movie, like I said. The movie came out. I remember going to see this
Midnight
Show movie.
Yeah.
And they had a lot of interviews with people. And I remember Al talking about quoting these interviews, especially like Little Richard. He used to do all the time. It was like, Hendrix? Where'd you get that name, Hendrix? Didn't know anybody like that except Iceman and Macon. He used to say that all the time.
Yes.
And then he used to imitate Al Hendrix, Jimmy's father, who was like marble mouth, couldn't understand anything.
Yeah.
But I love this album. That Jimmy's version of Like a Rolling Stone is amazing.
Yeah.
And one thing I never understood, I used to talk about this with Al too, is like why he's always talking about Bob Dylan's grandmother. He's like, during this record and during Monterey Pop, he's like, oh, this is Bob Dylan's grandmother. Bob Dylan's grandmother. Was she really there, or was it like a joke? I don't get it. But research that for me, Jim. Google that and get back to me. All right, where's the album cover? It's time to smell the album. That one looks like it's a good one. I got 2 copies here.
Holy cow!
This is the best part in here.
That's the best one.
This one looks new. One.
That one's this
smells good.
This one is definitely.
This is the time. If you guys are playing at home, go get your album, and we'll all smell it together. Ready? 1, 2, 3, go! Delicious.
Awesome.
There you go.
Oh, absolutely awesome. Great record.
So yes, absolutely, Jimi Hendrix. And the one video that I love so much from the movie, you can see it online, is when he's playing the 12-string blues, Hear My Train A-Comin', sitting there on the acoustic chair playing the wooden guitar. And it's just so damn good. It's an all-white room, and he's wearing these awesome clothes, playing that 12-string, and it just shows what he is. He's the greatest guitar player of all time, right? And he's sitting there, and then he's like, oh, I messed up. Can we do that over? Don't waste film on this. I was so nervous. And it's like, oh my God, this guy is the greatest guitar player of all time, and he's nervous sitting there playing it. And it sounds awesome. And Jimmy is going to actually record himself playing that song.
Yes.
And they were supposed to do it this morning, but you know how things go. But he's going to do it during the week. And if you can, available to sing. If not,
I'll do it justice.
he'll do it acoustically. 5-star. Everything Jimi Hendrix ever did is 5 stars.
Yes.
So we don't even have to discuss that.
Yep.
And
no doubt.
you know, we had a great time. Jimi Hendrix was the soundtrack to our life. Everything we're doing, running
absolutely.
Wild like crazy teenagers, running through Rosedale. Jimi Hendrix always playing in the background.
No
somewhere,
question.
Somehow.
He opened Pandora's box.
Right. I think that we all love music. We all love the same kind of music. But I think as a group, all of us, if you had to pick one artist that everybody loved equally, that brought us all together, was Jimi Hendrix. So, and did you ever see him in concert?
No, I never seen him. No.
Yes, he was long dead before we were out of kindergarten.
Yeah,
so,
what a
shame. You know, they say about that. You know, imagine if he was still alive today, the music he'd be doing. And I disagree with that. Now look at everybody that's old. All the rock stars that are old now in their 70s.
Yeah.
Nobody's done anything good in the last 30 years.
Yeah, they haven't done anything.
So everybody
True.
did all their prime
By
back in the 70s, and and that was it. You're dead.
Well, the last
And
album,
And I say, Al, I was maybe 12.
How old?
Probably
Speak up.
12.
Speak up.
I was
so
probably
Mike
12
can-
years old, and Albert calls, and I just got off the phone with my dad. He's like, I just called Albert. I guess he's gonna call. He's gonna call my mom and me and just say hello. He's like, yeah, tell him he got arrested. You heard he got arrested for public indecency and nudity because your girlfriend locked you out of the house naked. And I remember telling him that at 11 years old, and Albert just absolutely losing his mind. Who told you that? Who told you that? Your father told you that? Oh, my, did he tell anybody else? And just, I gotta go, Jimmy, I gotta go. And that was it. He called, and after telling that, I don't know what happened. It just,
I love
it was
it.
the funniest thing.
Yeah, that was a thing. Albert, he was with his girlfriend at the time, and there was some kind of incident where I heard, maybe I didn't get it right, but
Did that actually happen?
Yeah.
well, that's the
it
whole
was
thing.
close. It
You
was
know, all
close
of us,
along
we
those lines. I just
fabricate
don't think-
certain
Yeah, we
things. and
embellish, yeah.
Yeah, we add to, so, but that's the way I heard it, that Albert got into a fight with his girlfriend locked him out, and he was naked, and the cops came and took him away.
Banging on the door like Fred Flintstone.
Oh, yeah, it just,
was
I
mortified,
think,
right?
to be honest with you, it really kind of did happen that way,
I
where
believe it
the
did.
cops came
That's why he
and
was so upset. that
they
everybody
locked him
found
up
out.
while he was naked. Yeah, we've all put ourselves in it.
Well, I can honestly say that never happened to me.
No, that's never,
Dad told me once they all
Ooh.
went camping to go apple picking.
That's right.
And they all got out of the car to go pick apples on this I guess
That was
farm, this apple farm
upstate
New York.
Right, it was Teddy Williams.
Teddy Williams was there. My mother was there. You were there, and Albert was there. And at least that's the way he told it.
Big acre, big lot of acres.
There's a bunch of apple trees, and it's like 1 in the morning, and you all get out of the car to steal apples.
Full
And you guys all-
moon. It was a full moon out.
Yeah, so it's bright, kind of, and you guys all go your separate ways, and somehow you see Albert, a good maybe 80 yards away from you.
He was pretty far away from me.
And you just see him like picking apples, putting them in his shirt,
Yeah.
and you take an apple, and you go to throw it, but you just wanted to scare him.
Well, I just lobbed it,
You just lobbed it, yeah. Okay. You lobbed it, and you said you hit him in the eye, and you watch it, and just glisten through the moonlight.
Go past the
Go
moon,
past
right?
the moon,
Like
and you just
E.T.
hit him in the eye. And the apples just went everywhere, and he fell. And you really messed him up bad. Like, he had a big shiner, and he was like, "What happened?" And
Yeah.
Teddy heard somebody get hit, and Teddy just screamed your name, Jimmy. What are you doing?
Yeah,
I remember those were some of our best times, some of our funnest times when we
Yes.
used to go camping.
Yes.
We were these stupid teenagers from New York City who knew nothing
Yep.
about the wild, and we would go really upstate, not to some campground usually. Like we used to go to that lean-to. It was, I don't know, the
shelter.
the shelter.
In
It
Bear
was
Mountain.
it was up somewhere on the top of a mountain. You had to walk like a half hour straight up or wherever, and it was 3 walls. It wasn't even 4 walls.
Yep.
It had a wall, and a roof.
Yep.
And it was just a bunch of area, big area, just like made out of stone. It was made in the 1800s or something.
Yep.
On the Appalachian
Trail.
Trail, and you just had your sleeping bag, and you all just laid in a row there.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
our only supplies. I remember walking up this mountain carrying cases of beer.
Yeah. Nothing to eat. We had nothing to eat. We were all looking at each other. What the hell are we going to eat? Who brought the food? Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we had the best times, and
We always thinned back then.
Yeah, right. So, it was a lot of fun, and that's it. You got any more stories? This is it. Your last chance.
The time you
One
tried
more.
to pierce Albert's ear.
Oh, that was a good story. Tell that one.
You tried to pierce his ear.
Albert asked me to pierce his ear. And all of us, and my cousin was there. My grandmother's upstairs, and we're feeling nice,
How old
And
were you?
well, I was already 15, and I had 2 earrings in my ear at that time because Chino had 2, and my brother's got whatever, But the extent of it was just 2, and that was it. And Albert was thinking about it, and Kenneth was with me, and I said, okay, I'll pierce your ear. So we took some ice cube, we numbed his ear. I got the needle through, no problem. And it went well in the beginning until I took the needle out, and then I got the earring. And we started talking a little bit and kind of, and then it started to close. So I was able to get the earring in the front, but it didn't come out the same hole that did. So while I had him, he's screaming just profusely, like, ah! And he's just mad. He's just mad out of his mind. And my grandmother came down and said, Jesus, will you leave the boy alone? He was just echoing through the house, and he's just bellowing in pain. I'm calling, like he's this big baby, big crap.
But I remember people talking about it, that they came down, and you had like your foot on his forehead and jamming like an ice pick through his ear.
Well, I think Kenneth was holding him down, too.
Down.
I said, just hold him, man. Don't, because you're going to really mess this up more. I'm not going to really get it. So the thing is that I finally, after getting the earring in, his earlobe for years, his earlobe was bigger than the other.
Oh my God!
And it would wobble while he walked. He always complained that I could feel it wobbling. He had to try to get a bigger fake diamond to compensate the swelling of the ear, so it didn't look so big.
Jim, you seem to remember all these stories. What else you got? You got any more?
Yeah, let me see.
You should have wrote these down.
You hit him in the head with a bolt that one time?
Bolt?
Well, there was a high school that was supposed to be built for all of us, and it was somewhat completed, but had no walls, and it was just left.
It was just like the metal girders, pretty much.
That's it.
And then they ran out of money.
Or something happened.
Because New York City was the worst place to be in the 70s and 80s.
So,
urban neglect.
So by 1978, it was a great place for us to, or I should say, junior high school. 78, 79, where it was a good place for us to
hang out
miss
and
school.
Misbehave at this abandoned school area.
And and they had a number of floors, and I was on the 3rd floor, and I was on the 1st, and like we're playing tag, like who can get hit with these massive bolts. I mean,
they're like 3/4-inch lug nuts.
Yeah, they're a good half ounce, an ounce. I mean, they had some weight. I mean, you could really hurt somebody with them. Needless to say, I threw it kind of. I had no intentions of hitting him. I kind of seen him, and I
just
threw
like
it.
the apple.
And it bounced. It bounced off. Bing, bong, bong, down, second, and hits him.
Oh, I got a good one that just popped in my head. When he fell, you guys were sneaking into the racetrack or something, and he fell like 15 feet.
He had his
he had a big jacket.
He had his brother's bomber.
I don't even remember this story. What racetrack?
Freeport.
I forgot where he was going.
It was Freeport Raceway, and it was an old short quarter-mile oval track.
What do they even do there?
They
cars?
Racing
they race
cars? Stock cars.
And
demolition derby. And the thing is that at 14, 15, we didn't have too much money. So, but we did have a way to sneak in and sneak for free. Because you'd get over the roof and then you get on the bleachers and bingo, we're in. So everybody starts to climb up this drain pipe. And it was a good 15 feet. Good 15 feet because you'd have to hop on the dumpster, hold the drain pipe, and jimmy your way up. On the roof you go. Onto the bleachers. It's a simple thing.
Zip, zip, zip.
Oh, it was simple. I mean, you're up in minutes. I mean, we're young and agile, and we could do anything.
But you were probably drunk at the time, though, right?
Well, more or less. And Albert and I were the last ones to go, and there's a good 7 or 8 of them already on the bleachers by the time me and Albert even start to climb the pole. So I started climbing the pole. I get on the roof. Albert has his brother's bomber leather jacket, which is like 3 sizes too big. Because Albert had a tendency of, he liked the idea that it was big and he can conceal things.
Good for shoplifting and all
well,
that kind of stuff.
I mean, and other things to put in his pocket and stuff like that. So, and there I am. I'm on the roof and I'm looking down at him, and I said, "Come on!" And he's working his way up, and he's having a hard time because of the code, and he finally gets to me, and I got his hand. I got him. I says, "I got you." He says, "Don't let go." And I'm like, "No, I got you." And because the coat was too big, it kind of, and he fell. I mean, fell. And here I am. My head is over. To see his face just in seconds just flash away from me and hit the dumpster. And he was laying on the back on the dumpster.
On top of the dumpster or in the dumpster?
He was on top of
like
the
a metal
dumpster.
one.
It was
Oh,
a metal
okay.
dumpster, and he was on
Lid on
top
it?
of
Yeah.
it. It was amazing he didn't get hurt. And
Wow.
the only thing I said, well, come back up. Come on, man. The race is starting. And he said, don't touch me. I got it.
I'll do it myself.
Don't put your hands on me, you bastard. And we got on the race. And yeah. And we watched the race. It was really, Alvin, we've just been through so much.
And that was the day that the Demolition Derby, the Fonz was going against
Yeah,
the Malachi
the
brothers,
Fonz.
right?
Yeah,
And
that's
Pinky Tuscadero got injured.
Yeah, that's
I remember that race, yes. Very good one. So, all right, Jim, we're counting on you. We're old. We can't remember anything for any more stories.
I got another good one.
We'll keep going as long as you got them.
This one involves Ralphie, though.
All right.
When you and Albert were climbing where the subway went down. You know what I'm talking about?
I don't remember this one either.
Yeah, Ralphie, you and Albert were climbing over a wall.
Him and Albert.
Right.
Yeah, him and
It was
Albert.
it was the Long Island Railroad. There was a petition. It was an old wall from the 30s or something.
Where the subway
Right,
went.
right.
And it kicked out like an L, and it was at least 3 feet, 2 feet away from the track. But it was on the side of the express lane.
Okay.
Because you had 3 lanes on the Long Island Railroad. One would stop periodically for stops. The other one would, whether it came from Montauk, and it would just keep going. And I mean, move. And we're on top of this wall, and Ralph is down looking at us. We had nothing to do that night, and it was late during the night. And all of a sudden, the train came, and it spooked me. And I fell.
Onto the tracks?
I
from
fell.
Ralph's
Literally,
perspective,
I
it
fell.
looked like he
So
fell
this
back.
train
Oh,
is
okay.
moving, and Albert and I were like this close to the train while it was moving.
Yeah.
But to
But I
Ralphie's eyes,
grabbed-
it looked like you fell right onto the tracks.
Ah,
Absolutely.
Dead. You
And
were
oh my
literally
God.
I
dead.
grabbed
Yeah.
Albert while I went down, and me and Albert were like this, and this train is doing this. We couldn't move. He's like, Jim, don't do nothing. Don't do nothing. And it's moving, and the wheels are sparking, and
So,
I decide to pick up rocks and throw it at the train because I'm upset. And meanwhile, Ralph is absolutely like,
Yeah, that's
what
it. You
the
guys
hell
just
am I
died.
going to do?
Yeah, right?
They-
Their
yeah,
their bodies are all over the track because you couldn't see it any other way that me and Albert were dead.
Right,
There
right,
was
right.
no doubt. If you guys were there, you'd see it and say they're dead.
Wow.
And we got to call the parents. But after the train is long gone, and me and Albert finally we caught our breath and then started to crack up hysterical about it, we wind up getting back over the wall, and Ralph is like,
Ralph sitting there crying. Oh, my
you
friend.
son of a bitches, and he's punching us, and he's just, you bastards, and it was a number of times, me and Albert, really, we escaped death.
Absolutely.
And
most of the times, Albert escaped death at your hands.
Yeah.
I
well,
say,
yeah,
that today, this is the season finale of the show.
Oh.
So we might want to do like some cliffhanger or something. Why don't you pretend to hit him over the head with something, and then I'll fade it out at that time.
Dr. Rosso, come.
Or was this really a dream sequence? Did this all happen, or we dreamed all these things, Jim? Let's
these things really happen.
Questionable.
Right. So, and like I said on last week's show, the show is now going to go in hiatus for the summer. I'm going to work on the radio show, 474 The Mix. Be sure and listen to it. I'm going to have a special co-host, Cha-Cha Ferriola from Brooklyn, New York.
Really?
I've known her all my life. I think you know her
Cha-Cha
too.
from Brooklyn.
Yes. Yeah. She's going to be funny. She's going to be a great show. I'm not going to have any pauses. It's actually going to be funnier. I'm going to streamline it. No nonsense.
It's live?
No.
Okay.
It's going to eventually be live, but right in the beginning. So you people better go out there and listen and support, because it's all about ratings. So if I get good ratings, I'll get more and more and more. And
I'm in.
Who knows? I'll eventually take over the Tonight Show.
Do they accept
And
phone calls? If they accept
I
phone
will. I'll definitely accept
Oh,
phone
that's
calls.
the best.
need,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah,
Callers.
definitely. So, so that's it, and I will let you guys know about all that kind of stuff and what's going on. If any really important stuff comes on, I'll do a special show this summer because if I get a big guest, or something like that, and otherwise I'll just post things out there and stuff. As Charles Osgood says, this could be my new tagline. see you on the radio. Ooh, that's good.
like
You
that.
got a face for radio, Jim. Did anyone ever tell you that?
No. You don't want me on the radio.
So anyway, this has been a fun show. It was great talking about our good buddy Al.
Yes.
And we love you, Al. We miss you. And that's it for now. See you on the other side. Take care. Live from Dennis's house.
Hey, live from Dennis's house.